Have you ever stood at the edge of a quiet forest or an old, forgotten path and felt like you weren't alone? African folklore has a chilling explanation for that feeling. It warns us that not every place is empty just because it looks abandoned. Across dense forests, along winding rivers, and down overgrown paths, there are places that the elders, in their wisdom, refuse to go. Not because these places are cursed, but because they are already fulfilled. They are not haunted. They are occupied. And once you step inside, leaving as the same person you were is nearly impossible. Let's begin with our first story. The path that shortens itself. Imagine a footpath, a shortcut known to locals, but one that elders will never ever take after the sun has set. These paths, it is said, have a strange ability to change their length, but it depends entirely on who is walking them. Countless travelers have shared stories of walking for what felt like hours, a long and arduous journey, only to arrive at their destination shockingly soon. One tale speaks of a man in a hurry. Dusk was falling, and he decided to take one of these infamous paths to save time. As he walked, a deep sense of unease settled over him. The journey felt unnatural, too quiet, the air too still, the ground beneath his feet too smooth. When he finally emerged and reached the village, the people recognized his face, but a wave of confusion and shock spread through the crowd. They didn't recognize his age. He had been gone for just one night, a single cycle of the moon. But his body told a different story. His hair was streaked with gray, new lines were etched around his eyes, and his posture was that of a man who had lived many more years than he had that morning. The elders explained it simply. Some paths don't just lead forward through space, they lead elsewhere. And that elsewhere operates on a completely different timeline, one that doesn't respect human life or its fleeting nature. You might save a few hours on your journey, but lose years of your life in the exchange. Now let's travel from the forest path to the water's edge, to our second location, the river bank where names sink. Along certain rivers, there are specific bends in the current quiet coves that even the bravest villagers avoid, regardless of the time of day. The danger here isn't the risk of drowning in the swirling waters. The danger is in remembering. The lore says that if you stand on this bank and speak the name of a loved one, the water itself listens. It pays attention. It takes note. There's a story of a woman consumed by grief for her recently departed sister. In her sorrow, she wandered to one of these forbidden riverbanks. Lost in her pain, she stood at the water's edge and whispered her sister's name just once. The surface of the river, previously calm, rippled as if a stone had been dropped, though nothing had broken the water. Overcome with a desperate hope, she whispered the name again, louder this time. The water stirred more violently. That night, as the village slept, something called to the woman from the river. It was her sister's voice, a perfect imitation, begging her to come to the water. The next morning, villagers found her footprints in the soft mud, leading directly to the river's edge, and then stopping abruptly. There were no signs of a struggle, no tracks leading away. The river still flows peacefully past that bank today. But no one dares to speak the names of their loved ones there anymore, because they know that water has a long memory, and it does not forget what it is offered. Our third and final stop takes us deep into the heart of the forest, to a place known as the clearing that doesn't echo. Deep within the woods, far from any trail, there exist these strange, unnatural clearings. They look ordinary, but sound behaves in a way that defies all logic. There is no echo, no sound ever returns. If you shout, your voice is swallowed by the silence. If you clap, the sound dies instantly. For generations, hunters have known to avoid them. Drums, a vital part of communication and ceremony, were never to be played near these silent pockets of the forest. But warnings are not always heeded. One group of young, arrogant men ignored the elders' advice and decided to make camp in one such clearing for the night. As they settled in, they noticed strange things. Their campfire burned unusually low, casting a dim, weak light and producing almost no smoke. The vibrant, noisy life of the forest that should have surrounded them was completely absent. It was as if the entire forest was holding its breath, watching them from the tree line in absolute silence. When morning came, they made a terrifying discovery. One of their friends was gone. There were no tracks leading away from the camp, No signs of a struggle. Nothing to suggest what had happened. There was only one thing left of him: his voice. From deep within the surrounding trees, they could hear him calling out their names. A disembodied voice trapped in the woods. They fled immediately, leaving everything behind. The elders later explained that some places don't take your body. They take your presence, your essence, your voice. So, why are these places so feared? Why are they to be avoided at all costs? African folklore teaches a profound concept: that our world overlaps with others. The seen and the unseen, the physical and the spiritual, are not separate realms, but share the same space, layered on top of one another. These particular places, the path, the riverbank, the clearing, are locations where the veil between these worlds is dangerously thin. They sit too close to that overlap. Entering them doesn't always result in direct harm or a malevolent attack, but it always, without fail, brings attention. And in these liminal spaces, attention is never one-sided. When you notice something, something notices you back. These places still exist today. You won't find them marked on any map, and there are no signs posted to warn you of the danger. The only guide is memory. The stories passed down through generations. And memory speaks quietly, in whispers and cautionary tales. It offers a simple, chilling piece of advice: some places are not meant to know you. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the unsettling corners of folklore. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the unknown. Until next time, be careful where you wander,